Party leaders Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi announcing they came to an agreement with the president after a White House meeting on Wednesday. But then President Trump denying that a deal was ever reached. Let's bring in Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs. Congressman, good of you to join us today. So, look, let's look at the face of it. Deal or no deal on the DACA program?
Well, I'm not hearing a meeting of the minds yet. You know, I'm not hearing the participants in that meeting saying, oh, yeah, we're all together on this. What I'm hearing is a bunch of different versions of what happened. I say there's no meeting of minds, which tells me there's no deal yet.
What do you think should happen in this particular situation as we deal with DACA and the young people it affects, the young dreamers who hope to remain in this country and continue to contribute to this country? As you know, some of them are actually serving the military. Others are perhaps planning to go to college. What should happen in this 6-month period that the president has given for Congress to act?
Well, I think he's right to give it to Congress. That's where it constitutionally lies. But I do think this is a shiny object that's a Democrat talking point. They're talking about DACA, which distracts us from the Republican agenda, which was to build a border wall, secure the border with other means, enforce the law internally, and take away the inducements or incentives for people to come here illegally. I think DACA is just, quite frankly, it's a distraction. And, you know, I don't think we should get to DACA until we've taken care of the promises that we made in the Republican agenda when we ran and got elected on that agenda.
But, Congressman, the president has made this an agenda for you members of Congress, saying something needs to be done to address this program, and it needs to be done within the 6 months. And that's what the president has issued. Will Republicans get behind the president and come up with a way of working this out, which would include the border security and again, getting to the point that the president's talking about? This is not about amnesty. It's about helping people who are already here, young people who came here no will of their own, no fault of their own.
Well, there's a couple of points to be made about that. Number one is we're not just talking about young people. We're talking people up to age 35. These are self-reported coming here. So there's some internal problems. There's reports of fraud there. We know that about 20% of people who claim to be DACA eligible have dropped out of high school even. Not everybody's the valedictorian of their school. So you get this debate going on over there about what's wrong with DACA or what's right with DACA. But it distracts, and other people believe, the second point is other people believe border security does not include building a wall. I happen to be one who believes that border security includes building a wall. And if you grant an amnesty, which I think DACA is, if you grant an amnesty, I don't think you're going to be able to deliver on those other promises. We've seen that in the past where in the 1980s when the Reagan amnesty, we didn't get everything that was promised, border security, walls, whatever. We didn't get that. We previously, actually, Congress said, well, let's build a wall, and then they took away the funding.
Well, Congressman, let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this. Since the president has reached out to Democrats, and they're known as Chuck and Nancy now, what will Republicans do to reach out to Democrats, and will you operate together to make the situation right all the way around? Comprehensive reform, dealing with DACA, dealing with the border security, the wall. What will you do in the next 6 months to get this done? And if you fail to do that, if you fail to act, the president then has to make a decision about what to do about those people who did come here through no fault of their own.
Well, my position is you can't do comprehensive immigration reform until you've taken care of the three things I've talked about, which is the border, internal enforcement, and taking away the inducements.
But can you do that right now? Not to cut you off, because I'm on a limited time. Can you do that working across the aisle, Democrats and Republicans coming to a bipartisan legislative action that will do something about this and tackle all those three issues?
I think it's going to be very difficult because, as I say, some people do not believe border security involves even more troops on the ground or building walls and physical barriers. It's going to be very difficult for Republicans to keep promises. Yeah.
Congressman, we thank you for joining us today. Congressman Andy Biggs. A tough road ahead. We'll continue to watch the developments.